Room 428. Scary story. Room 428. The terrifying places vary in their shapes, sizes, colors, and spaces. They also vary in the extent of the horror that surrounds them and reflects them on their appearance. What I'm talking about is not just a terrifying place. It is one of the most frightening places. Has shown it as one of the most terrifying places in the series The Most Terrible Places on Earth. Wilson University Residence. Ohio Student Homes is a student residence of the Ohio American University, founded in 1964, and the name of the chemical professor Hiram Roy Wilson on the occasion of joining the university at the time. The establishment of this residence came many years after the establishment of the university. It was founded in 1804 in Athens, Ohio, and is one of the oldest American universities. This housing was not suffering from strange phenomena before the 70s of the calendar, when a student died mysterious in his room. Yes, room 428. This room was located on the 4th floor of Wilson's residence. The death of that student was the great wind that opened the door to the wide-ranging activity of the house in general, and in room 428 in particular, which declared the beginning of a new era erasing the past of tranquility and peace. Panic and apprehension among him. The door of that room opens and closes on its own. Things fly and crash in the walls. Strange sounds of unknown source. Shadows appear and disappear without a logical explanation. A demonic face on the roof of the door of the room, and cannot replace the door with another. That face reappears again, and constant complaints from the owners of rooms adjacent to room 428 on hearing of the impact of someone's steps inside, although no one there. Another incident. I tried to uncover the secret of the room. It seems that the university did not take notice of what happened. It was said that she had once again vacated that ominous room of one of her students, and despite the appalling situation inside her new guest was known for her passion for tracking ambiguous things. She tried to communicate with the dead by star projection. The ghosts did not find the fun of this, as it seemed. Not only did she not respond to her, but decided to boycott her wild passion. One day, Wilson's apartment woke up to the news of her horrific death. Some sources said she had died in suicide. See her ghost. Finally, the university administration issued a decision to close the room 428 permanently because it is not suitable for housing. What is the secret behind these events? The room was closed to ward off its evils. The events raised some experts to investigate the matter and find out the circumstances, and they found that Wilson's residence is located in the middle of 5 tombs surrounded by scattered, and when the sites were connected to each other on the map, it turned out that housing is the center of the pentagram, a famous icon in the world magic and sorcery. While other experts refuted the argument that it is possible to form a pentagram of any place with 5 scattered sites surrounding it, it is not limited to that housing. Away from the controversy about the 5-star, we must not forget that the 5 sites surrounding the housing are tombs. GOSM 20,160,617.jpg. Investigations have shown that the land on which Wilson's residence was built was also a graveyard, but it was owned by the Athens Medical Center for Mental Illness, later known as the Athenian Shelter for the Mentally Challenged, where he was buried alive. Athenian Refuge for the Mentally Retarded. Athens Mental Health Clinic. The shelter was opened in 1874, and its inhabitants enjoyed rest and tranquility for many years, but soon the situation changed. The shelter became overwhelmed by the large numbers of patients, and the doctors and staff of the shelter became cruel and temperamental. In that shelter, the doctor was no longer a demon, but an angel. He had become a difficult punishment for his patients, to be immersed in a basin full of cold water or electrocuted, which might lead to surgery, the frontal brain from the rest of the brain, until the patient gives up his intensity and violence. The process of separation of the brain is by inserting a long needle to the brain through the eye. This method has been blocked for lack of feasibility and adverse consequences on the patient. If we ignore the hideous manner in which this process was carried out, its extreme gravity, the process made it globally banned by the late 1970s. It caused many cognitive and emotional deficits, disability, severe brain damage, as well as deaths and suicide, to other catastrophic consequences. On the other hand, there are those who claim that Wilson's residence was built on a graveyard for Native American or Red Indians, who measured the two European settlers at the time. It is sufficient to mention the actions of the despicable European settler to keep the Red Indian skin from making a hat or shoe, and to enjoy the scalp of that Indian, to receive his share of the rewards that the courts have been watching for those who come with that scalp. Is it enough? Like you say, yes, enough. Well, let's continue. It is striking that the hidden powers have extended to many Ohio University buildings, not just Wilson's, and I'm sorry to say that the whole of Ohio is a focus of metaphysical activity and inhabited places. Here are some scary places in Ohio, thought to be inhabited. Cincinnati subway tunnels. Buckley Road. Montville Tunnel. Child Crying Bridge. Molly Stark Hospital. Images of some places allegedly inhabited in Ohio. It is worth mentioning that a small Cessna station jet carrying 6 passengers disappeared last year in mysterious circumstances. Would you be surprised to learn that it took off from the airport, Brocklackerfront, Ohio? Well, what if I told you she was going to Ohio University Airport? It remains to be noted that the puzzle of the puzzling Room 428 still exists today. No one knows specifically why the focus of the activity Alma Ray around this room only, her character closed by the door and declared as a room forbidden to all. 238,892.jpg. Finally, if you are planning to study at Ohio State University, I'm pleased to tell you that it provides a distance learning system. You do not need to go, and all you have to do is make sure that your correspondent is not a ghost,